What's up guys, it's Josh from KeepItTechie, and today I want to do a quick video on the dog command. Now, if you know anything about DNS, DNS is basically a domain name server. And what it's used for is to translate domain names to IP addresses. And I was playing around with my DNS server the other day and I found another tool, or a new tool, that's been put out there called Dog. And basically it's a command line DNS client tool or utility that you can use to translate domain names to IP addresses by using DNS servers. And just to explain a little bit, whenever you type in a URL or a domain name into your browser, what happens is some DNS out there on the internet translates the name of that domain to an IP address. And the whole purpose of it is it's easier for human beings to remember a word versus a string of numbers. So DNS servers are used to translate those domain names to IP addresses, which is what a computer understands better than a domain name. So for example, if you type in google.com, what your browser will do is go out to a DNS server, and the DNS server will respond back and say, okay, google.com is X IP address. And then your browser is like, okay, so it goes directly to that server from that point. So basically what your browser is doing is querying a server that's out there on the internet to find out what that IP address is and then take you to it. So anyway, there are a bunch of tools out there. I think I've talked about Dig before. I may have done a video on it, I don't really remember, but Dig is one of those DNS utilities that was built as a client. And someone actually wrote another utility that kind of handles the exact same thing, but it's improved upon, and it's called Dog. So let me go down and go to the website. That way we can read a little bit about it and you guys can understand how to actually use it. So let me get to the site. Okay, cool. So I have their website up. It's actually dns.lookup.dog, and I'll link that down in the description box below. But as you can see at the top, it says Dog, the command line DNS client. Dog can look up. And then here's an example of what it looks like when you actually run the Dog command. And then here's the description. It says Dog is an open source DNS client for the command line. It is colorful. It has colorful output, supports the DOT and DOH protocol, and can emit JSON, which is one cool thing I like about this actual tool. That's what made me wanna play around with it, because I recently been learning Python, and I know JSON is one of those things that you can use with Python. It's basically a text database that you could query from Python. But anyway, let's go a little bit further down. It just says standard command line options, so it does have options in it, and I'll go through some of those options. But one thing I wanted to point out right here, it says Dog supports the new DNS-over-TLS and DNS-over-HTTPS protocols. So that's one cool thing about the Dog command that's better than the Dig command. The Dig command does it somewhat of the same thing, but this supports, those new protocols. So just wanted to point that out. And then here is an example of the JSON support right here. So as you can see, that's a JSON format basically, and that's what you can use in Python to query things within your Python script that you're writing. Also, JSON works with other programming languages. It's just that's the one that I've been learning recently. And then also, if we go down, there's the installation instructions, or it'll take you to the GitHub page, and that's what I want to go to right now. I already have it open, but let's go to that now. All right, cool. So here is the GitHub page for Dog. So if we go down a little bit right here, that'll show you, that's the files right there. But as example, same information as on the website. And then if we go down here, I just wanted to go to the installation port and just show you that you can, it says to install Dog, you can download a precompiled binary, or you can compile it from source. You may be able to install Dog using the OS package manager. So just check and see if it's in any of the repositories. One thing I do know, and one thing they say on this site, that it is in the AUR, the Arch user repository, so you can install it directly from the Arch user repository, and as well as Mac OS, you can get it using Homebrew. And just to put a little bit more information on top, it says dog is written in Rust, and that's one difference between dog. Is written in a Rust programming language. And it says you will need at least Rust version 1.45.0 or higher. The recommended way to install Rust is from, their official download page. So if you need help installing Rust on your system, then you can go to the official download page. But when you install it from the AUR, it'll compile all that and install Rust for you when you go through the install from the AUR. Okay, cool. So let's go down and download or install it right fast. So I'm gonna go over to a virtual machine right fast. I'm gonna go to a Reborn OS. Let me bring that up right now. Just give it a second. Boom, there we go. I already have it installed, and I just recently did a review on Reborn OS, and I think I used the Budgie. I installed the Budgie desktop. Well, I went on reinstalled it using the GNOME desktop environment, just to show you guys a different desktop environment on Reborn OS. So check out that video where I did a review of Reborn OS. It's an Arch based distribution, and I'll install dog on here so you guys can see how to use it. But like I stated, it's in the AUR. You can obviously go to the software center or software installer, but I'm gonna install it from the command line. It's a command line tool, so you got to get used to using the command line. So just go ahead and install it from the command line. I recommend that you do that. Now let's type in yay and then dash capital S. And one thing you want to do with Arch or any distribution is really to upgrade the system first. So if your system hasn't been upgraded, you want to make sure you upgrade the system. It'll refresh packages and all that stuff. So, and the package name is dog-dns. So we have to type that in. So dog -DNS, and the reason it's named dog-DNS is because there's another package within the AUR that has the name dog. I think it's a cat command similar to cats. So dog, I think with that command or that program, it says, the description says dog is better than cat. I thought that was funny, but dog-DNS, that's what you want to install. So just make sure you install the right package though. Now let's press enter, and then with yay, one thing, it'll ask you the package that you want to install. There's 3 different packages. There's the dog-DNS package, which is the regular package. It'll compile it, install it, and all that stuff for you. And then there's a dog-DNS bin and a dog-DNS git, which is kind of like the bleeding edge version of dog. Well, what I always do is the default, which is the current stable package. And then let's see, make dependencies. I always just say no. I just leave the dependencies there or whatever after the install. And then right here it just asks you about differences to show. And then this is one thing that one of the dependencies, and like I said, it will install Rust for you when you install it from the AUR. So let's press enter right there for yes, and let's give it a second. It shouldn't take too long. Well, I don't know how big the Rust package is, so it may take a little time. It looks like it's moving pretty good though. I got pretty good internet, so, but I'm not sure how long the actual package will take to compile. I don't know if it has to compile a lot of files and all that stuff to get it to run properly. And let's just give it a couple more minutes. Oh yeah, Rust didn't take too long to install. And then now it's going to actually install dog-DNS right here if you're following the process. And it shouldn't take too long, man. Cool. So yeah, it's compiling everything, putting it all together, and we should be able to run the package pretty soon. And shouldn't take much longer. Okay, cool. So the installation has complete, and just to explain the reason I talked about that dog command, it will basically conflict if you have both of those packages installed in your system, because the way the dog command works is still going to use dog as the command name, and what I'm talking about is dog-dns. That package will use dog as the name. It'll actually create a directory under user bin that is needed for the dog command to run, or dog-dns to run. And if you have both of those packages installed, they'll conflict. So I basically wanted to point that out to you guys. But let's go on and go to the man page for dog, which is one thing I like to do. And they don't have a manual for it, which is fine. You can always go to their website to check out how to actually run the dog command, but I'll show you a few of the actual options. One of them is basically sending DNS queries. So let's say you want to look up a specific record, or like the A record or something. So let's type dog and let's go to ubuntu.org, and let's say we want to look at, and I put Ubuntu, so ubuntu.org, and let's say I want to look up the MX record, which is the mail exchange record. So let's press enter on that, and as you can see, it'll pull that MX record. And just to show you guys, if you don't put any options on the end of it, you can type enter, and it will automatically pull the A record for that actual thing, domain name. And one thing I probably should have showed you guys was you can actually look at the version. So let's go dog dash version and press enter. That'll give us the information on the actual command. So dog command line DNS tool version 0.1.0, and that's the link to the website. Okay, and let me just show you another option. You can actually look up the name servers for a domain that you actually look up. So like I ran the dog ubuntu.org, and I looked up the MX record. Well, you can actually look up the name servers that respond. So if we type ns at the end of it, press enter, that'll pull up the name server for it. So this is the actual name server right here for ubuntu.org, and translates the IP address, and all that good stuff. So that's the information you get from it. Now the next thing I wanted to show you guys, with this tool, you can actually query a particular DNS server if you wanted to. So let's say you know of a DNS server you want to look at, like I think I know we could use like Cloudflare or something. So let's type in Ubuntu, dog, and then ubuntu.org, and let's look up the A record again, but let's specify the DNS server we want to query. So Cloudflare, I think is 1.1.1.1, and you have to put the @ symbol in front of it, and then the name server or the DNS server that you want to query, press enter. It'll query from that particular server and get the IP address. Now let's see if we can I'm gonna use one of the other options, but you can also look at how long it took to actually query that IP address. So let's go back here, ubuntu.org, and then let's look at the MX records again. And then also there's another option, it's called time. So if we type --time and press enter, that'll let us know how long it actually took. So it says ran in 4 milliseconds, and it pulled the MX record and the name server, everything for that server, right there for ubuntu.org. So you can gather like some good information using that option, you know what I'm saying? Now let's go down and clear, because I want to show you guys one more thing right fast. So let's press Control L, that'll clear the screen. And the last thing I wanted to show you guys was actually running it and output into JSON format. So let's type dog and then ubuntu.org, and let's say we want to look at the A record, and also let's look at the AAA record, and then the MX record, and let's put it out in a JSON format. So basically all you have to do is put -- and then JSON, and you can actually write this to a file like you can create a text file in the current location that you're in if you want to, or a specific location. You can name the text file whatever, so it could be IP, you know, .txt, and then you know, Ubuntu or dog, you know. And I'm not gonna actually output it to anything. I just wanted to, you know, show you guys that you can, you know what I'm saying, by outputting it to a text file. But I'm gonna just run it so you guys can see it, you know, populate on the screen. But let's press enter right there, and as you can see, it'll output everything to a JSON format. So you can use like Python or any other programming language to go through this information and parse it out, depending on, you know, what you're doing with it. And you can also, you know, create some type of script where it goes through a bunch of IP addresses and outputs it out to a JSON file, and create a database of IP addresses of different websites that you want to keep a track of. So it's one cool thing about this actual application. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. This is an application I think you guys should check out, or a utility that you guys should check out, especially when you're getting into managing DNS servers or managing websites. You need to understand DNS and how to actually use it, and how it can assist you with troubleshooting websites and all that good stuff. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and share if you like. And I also have like a Patreon if you want to sign up for Patreon and support the channel. I try to put out at least 3 videos a week. It's been kind of slow because I'm working on a certification right now, but I'll be picking it up pretty soon. Hopefully I'll pass this certification. So wish me luck, guys. So I hope you guys have a good night, and of course, keep it techie.